Hello YouTube, and welcome to part 6 of our DBZ review thing. With me again is Zazubaar.
Hello everyone.
And then joining us again is Sid part 2.
Hi.
And today, since we're done with the movies, we're going to move on to the 2 television specials, Bardock the Father of Goku and History of Trunks, in that order, since that's chronological.
Indeed.
So let's start
I was actually wondering, why did you pick the 2 of these together? Just because that's the order they came out, or what?
Well, because it's 2 TV specials.
Because they're just TV specials. We did all the movies first, and I'm going to get the TV specials out of the way, and then next time...
Okay, I was just wondering if you did these because these were, like, the good ones.
Well, no, I mean, they're the only 2 TV specials, so... The movies were released differently.
Quote-unquote TV specials. I don't know why they didn't just release them as movies. They're almost as long.
And they're the same length, I mean...
And they're really good.
Yeah, especially Bardock. Trunks is a little... It's good, but we'll get to it. I like Bardock quite a bit better.
Yeah, so let's just start talking about Bardock, the father of Goku. And I guess the best way to do that is to start off talking about the title character. Bardock is a badass.
And guess who he is? Father of Goku.
He's even more badass. Let me just say this. He wears a headband, a red headband. But what you don't realize if you don't watch this, and you've only seen him like in the games, is the only reason this headband is red is that it is soaked in the blood of his comrades.
Yes, because Frieza betrayed them, which is fucking awesome. This dude is the Rambo of Saiyans.
That is a very good metaphor.
Yeah. Let me just say this. This was actually the only movie I remember seeing when I was young. Like, I had this on VHS. I have no idea where it is. I looked for it today to watch it, and no such luck. But yeah, this is the very first movie I had on VHS, or Dragon Ball Z movie I had. And I always really enjoyed it. And it holds up surprisingly well. I expected it to be really bad, but no, it holds up really well. He goes through a great character arc in it, which I love. And he's just the badass of Dragon Ball Z's, unknown characters. I mean, this is such a write-off of a character, in all honesty, but he legitimately comes through as a really strong character still.
Yeah, because he's more than just the father of Goku. He goes through an arc separate from the fact that he's Goku's dad.
And even before he goes through that arc, he's got a pretty interesting character because he's basically he's a low-class Saiyan warrior, or at least that's...
Low-class as they call it, yeah.
Yeah, that's the sort of class that he's in, I guess you could say. But he takes on these missions that, like, Frieza's elite can't take down, and then he succeeds in them. He's quickly becoming one of Frieza's best soldiers, and that's the whole reason Frieza decides to kill all the Saiyans is because
they're becoming too powerful. Yeah,
and
well,
obviously,
let me say this much: I don't think it was just because of Bardock. I think that's a thought Frieza had been having for a while, and Bardock was kind of the inspiration that. Like,
sure, because there's this whole dialogue scene between him and Zarbon and Dodoria, where Dodoria is talking about how Dodoria and Zarbon are going off about how the Saiyans, just as a race, are quickly becoming the most powerful part of Frieza's empire. And of course, in the back of Frieza's mind, he's always worried about that whole Super Saiyan thing.
Yeah. Of course, yeah. And I think in the back of his mind, he also thinks that Bardock is quickly becoming the one who's going to do it, because there's a line where they say that he's becoming as strong as King Vegeta, who is probably the strongest of all the Saiyans, bar none.
Yeah, he clearly, while I don't think that it was just because of Bardock, he clearly has something against Bardock specifically, because it's his team that he specifically has killed by Dodoria.
Right, and he's the one who survives it all and goes after Frieza. So here's the connecting thing, though. This isn't just the events leading up to the destruction of the planet Vegeta. There's also a plot detail thrown in that kind of includes the story of DBZ, because Bardock gets the power to see the future from this alien race he kills at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he starts throughout the movie, he has visions, not just of Vegeta getting destroyed, but also a lot of stuff from Dragon Ball, of just Goku growing up. And then near the end, he starts seeing...
Which was cool to see all the clips again.
Yeah, it's always nice to see those two series linked closely.
And then later on, at the end of the movie, when he fails to defeat Frieza, he realizes that Goku, or Kakarot, I should say, is going to be the one to do it.
Yeah, he sees... That's why he smiles, because he's like, oh, I'm not going to do it, but my son's going to do it.
Which is a really inconvenient time to figure that out.
When you're being blown away. But that shot of Bardock in the middle of the explosion and smiling is awesome.
Kakarot!
Yeah, and it's even more awesome when they do it in Cooler's Revenge, because it's all in glorious HD.
Oh yeah, they updated the animation in Cooler's Revenge. It's always a little jarring when I watch that scene in this one, just because it doesn't look quite as good, and I watch Cooler's Revenge more often.
Yeah, it also doesn't have the music score behind it that Cooler's Revenge does, that awesome Drowning Pool music. But this is fine.
And isn't his dialogue just slightly different?
It's a little bit more aggressive, but here's the thing. In that movie, they're not bringing up the plot of this one. It's just that isolated scene, so they have to make it self-contained, where Bardock is just like, we're sick of being oppressed by you. Not really what's going on here. I mean, he's definitely fighting. He's definitely rising up against Frieza because of Frieza's oppression, but it's not like it's not quite as black and white as they make it in Cooler's Revenge.
Right, and they also kind of mess up the timeline, because in Cooler's Revenge, Goku's pod is speeding away as the planet is exploding, and in this, Goku had already been gone.
He'd been gone for a while.
Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's a little more dramatic.
Oh, definitely. It's kind of like, obviously Kal-El and Superman, but and it works in Cooler's Revenge because Cooler almost is about to kill Kakarot, but he doesn't, and that's what leads to the whole plot, is that Cooler is fucked up by letting him live. But it works for that movie, and it works how it needs to work here.
Yeah.
Now it's been I did not get the chance to rewatch this today, so it's been a couple months for me. Does Bardock see Goku go Super Saiyan?
No.
No.
He doesn't. Okay.
He doesn't actually get clips of Goku going Super Saiyan.
Okay, I thought he did. That fuck up on my memory. I apologize.
No, but he sees Goku and stare down Frieza. So.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That I do remember. I remember that shot quite vividly.
Which I don't know if this came out before the actual Super Saiyan transformation had happened.
I believe it was released during the Frieza saga, if I'm not mistaken.
That would make sense. It would make more sense that it was probably released after, to me, because they really wouldn't want to spoil that Goku is going to be the one that does this, since they had Vegeta and everybody around.
Right. I mean, yeah, definitely. But I mean, it's also pretty obvious based on the animation, because it looks like the Frieza saga and not like the Cell saga. So, this was definitely made during the Frieza saga. Also because all the space stuff in DBZ was really popular at that point, so I guess they wanted to get out that backstory while it was hot.
I wish we got more space stuff, to be honest. The space stuff in DBZ is really entertaining.
Yeah, definitely. And they rarely go off planet in the later stuff. It's always on Earth. And it's just cool to see a bunch of fights that take place nowhere on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This movie, it's a real treat.
It's
yeah,
cool
I agree. I did like that. It was cool that we got to see just how powerful. What's his name? Deborah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool that we got
or
to see.
Dodoria.
No, Dodoria, because Deborah is basically the devil.
Yeah, in the saga.
Dodoria. It was cool that we got to see just how powerful Frieza's right-hand man really was. With that mouth blast, that was really cool.
Because by the time we get to them on Namek, Vegeta has become more powerful than them, so we never really get a good feeling of how strong they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also some really good continuity in this based on the Frieza saga, because they run with the concept of a Saiyan gets drastically more stronger, right? But if they're on the brink of death.
Right. One thing about this movie that I like, or TV special, I'll just call it a movie,
Why not?
is finally seeing the Saiyan society, and I mean, we don't really see a lot of it, but it's like all throughout the series you get, dialogue about what the Saiyans were and what they did, and, and to finally just see something that's set during that time before the planet blows up is just really cool. And we also get little kid Vegeta in this.
And King Vegeta.
Yeah. Wait. Did he? I might have missed that bit.
King Vegeta never shows up on screen, Bill.
Oh.
They mentioned
I swear I remember that too. That's weird.
Yeah, I remember him showing up.
There is a flashback scene from one of the episodes of the show where we see Frieza killing King Vegeta, so I don't know if that's what y'all are thinking of. But
Well, I swear I remember on my DVD, or God, that's how long it's been since I've had VHS. I don't even remember the term. On my VHS tape, I swear I remember we get to see King Vegeta in it.
Yeah, Dylan's definitely right, because I did not get to rewatch this today, so I'm the rustiest on this movie of all of us here. But
I know he didn't show up in this, and that I thought I missed something. So that's weird.
He's at least mentioned.
I don't know if, he is mentioned once, and I don't know if there's different versions of this. I don't think there
might be, because I swear I remember that.
I don't remember vividly. I do remember a scene of him in this. Just like
him escorting his son with Nappa or something.
No. I remember him. I remember him saying something like Bardock is. Someone comes to him and is just like something is going on in the atmosphere, because there's a scene where Bardock and all these different men go up into the atmosphere and they confront Frieza before he's about to blow up the planet. So I remember a scene before that of King Vegeta asking what's going on.
Someone in the comments, if you remember King Vegeta being in this, please let us know.
Yeah. Despite that, though.
Yeah, because there might be different versions, but the version I watched today, he wasn't in.
Did you watch that same YouTube cut you sent me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, again, we do get little kid Vegeta in this.
Which was, I really liked how they characterized Vegeta in this for the first time. I liked how they characterized Vegeta in a movie.
Because he's just basically Vegeta as he was when he showed up at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, a spoiled brat obsessed with...
But it's even creepier because he's an actual child, and he's this evil.
Yes.
Well, more so than that, I just love that scene where they tell him that... fuck it, I'm going to say it. I love that scene where they tell him that Krypton exploded, and he's just like, are you sure?
Yeah. Well, don't they tell him it was a meteorite that did it and not Frieza?
Yeah,
I thought that was clever. I was like, wait, how are they going to work that in if you have Frieza be the one that blew up Vegeta?
Right. Well, that was established in the show. Is that the official story was that a meteorite hit, and Vegeta had always been suspicious that it was actually Frieza, but then Zarbon was the one that finally told him, for real. But I mean, Vegeta in
Zarbon, the blue guy or green guy,
the pretty one, quote unquote.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And Vegeta just doesn't care in this movie. His planet gets blown up, and he's like, "Oh, okay. Do you want to send a reply?" No reply. And it's like,
because he has such a shitty relationship with his dad. So
yeah, but I would have at least liked to see him not get upset about it, like, oh no, my planet's gone. But I would have liked to see him get mad about it,
Yeah, totally. I mean, yes, Saiyans are bred to be unemotional and detached and only care about fighting. But at the very least, that's his fucking kingdom. That's who he was going to rule over.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on this. It seems like he should have had some reaction, but I think it's not that he's cold about it. I think there's just a different reaction, kind of a determination that sets in at that point. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe I'm just getting that from, seeing the characters so much in other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Also, seeing Nappa with hair is nice.
Because, I mean, this is supposed to... Yeah, Nappa with hair is... It's kind of surreal, isn't it? It's not even very...
Yes, it looks like a toupee.
It's not even very good hair. It makes me wonder if it is some kind of hairpiece.
He just stopped caring later on. He just decided to let it kind of just be bald.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the main reasons in the show for Vegeta to really hate Frieza the way he does. So I would have been happier if he had just had at least an angry reaction, but what we got was good too.
Yeah, it's not like it's out of character. It's just, again, at the very least, that's his fucking people he's going to rule over. In the grand scheme of Frieza's plans, he's a henchman. That's all he is. That's the people that made him special. So, I think that should have been brought up. But it's a lot more about Bardock, and
Yeah.
So in that way, that's where it succeeds.
Yeah, I mean, I get the feeling that the only reason Vegeta is in this is because it's cool to see Kid Vegeta.
Yeah, well, it's there because it's like.
Well, I mean, he killed a whole fucking planet himself, and it was supposed to be like the most dangerous mission around, too.
Yeah, I know, and there's just this circle of dead people all around him, and he's sitting there eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get to see that with Bardock, too, where they're just chilling out in just like a yard of dead people.
Now, how did you feel about the fact that they decided to make Bardock psychic?
I like that. I thought it was a really clever touch, because you don't usually get to see stuff like that. And it was a good way to give, like, this guy who is supposed to be really cold this natural empathy.
Right.
So I thought that was a clever touch, because otherwise it would have been weird for, like, we're supposed to believe that he's, like, this cold warrior, and then suddenly he starts to care.
Here's the thing, though. Do you guys feel like it's a little cheap that they do that, and that's the reason why he goes on this quest? I mean, of course, he goes on this quest against Frieza because he fucking killed his men. But I feel like it almost feels like it would have had more power behind it if he would have done it without being forced to by these powers.
Well, it's not like he was forced to. It's just this gave him the opportunity to see it happen. I feel like he would have gone after Frieza regardless, because regardless of his psychic ability, Frieza still was going to have killed his men at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he went after Frieza more immediately than he normally would have. Like, if not for the psychic powers, if not for the fact that the planet was about to blow up, he probably would have healed up before he went after Frieza. But, that's
Fair
not
enough.
as good drama.
Fair enough. It's a weird plot point. It does, in the end, it does work. It also gives an excuse for Bardock to actually see Goku as an adult.
Right. And that's the thing that really seals it for me is with or without the psychic powers, you could do this movie either way, and it works either way. But I like having it just because it provides that link between this and the main series.
Well,
it's not totally disconnected.
It's kind of what drives the character arc as much as it does, because otherwise it'd just be a revenge story, but this adds, like, kind of a, natural empathy to him, and, like, that he wouldn't have on his own without it,
Right, because with it, at the end of the movie, he gets to be an actual, like, heroic figure instead of just being an anti-hero that was going after Frieza for revenge.
Yeah, like, that's the thing, is this... The psychic power is what drives his character arc, as opposed to him just being the rogue good guy.
Mm-hmm. Kind of makes you wish we would have gotten more stuff about Bardock after this.
Well, we did.
Fair enough, but that was done with. I mean, like actual Bardock. But yeah, but whatever. I still haven't seen that yet, so I don't know how I feel about that yet. I mean, like...
Oh, Bill, you're gonna love it, man.
I bet. We're doing that one tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, Ian obviously doesn't like it. I have mixed feelings about it. There are parts of it that are kind of cool, but then there's a lot of it that is just kind of stupid.
I just don't know why Bardock has to go back in time, and how does that make sense?
It does. That's the thing, Bill. It doesn't make sense.
I mean,
they don't
is
even
Frieza's blast so powerful that it creates a wormhole? I mean,
that is the only explanation I can think of, because they don't give any other. But I don't
want to. Want to know why Bardock has to go back in time? Because $, Bill. Because $.
That probably that sums it up. Because it makes money, Bill.
It wouldn't be as valuable if it was just some random Super Saiyan. It's got.
Yeah, but it wasn't even released in America officially. It's all fan crap that's released it here.
It was sort of a fan project. It was sort of a fan project over there too, because before it was a movie, it was a manga that somebody did.
Did you guys know the Japanese government paid for Battle of Gods to be made?
I don't know.
Because Dragon Ball Z is so popular over there that the government sanctioned it to be made.
Well,
That is amazing.
That's how awesome the Japanese are. The government sanctions franchises to be continued.
Right? The American government never, shakes Hollywood and be like, why haven't you made this yet?
Because the Japanese are so big of fans of their own properties that they force people to make the movies. It's like they come in, Akira Toriyama, yes. When was the last time you guys made a DBZ movie? I don't know, 2004? Prime Minister has seen them all, and he really wants to see another DBZ movie. The franchise is dead. I mean, GT was ass. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
I don't
I'm sorry.
know why this Japanese man has a British accent.
Don't question it.
Akira Toriyama. What?
Can you make another DBZ movie? No, I'm done. All right, here's a gun. I'm gonna point it at you. Make the movie. Fuck.
Oh wow.
And that's how Battle of Gods got made. And I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know if it sucks, but
Yeah, whenever
I don't know. We'll see. That'll be the addendum to the series.
Yeah, whenever we get a good release of it, we'll do a special and review it as well.
I really hope it doesn't suck, because if it does, we'll never get anything from DBZ again, which is depressing.
They're making a game of some kind that's like.
Yeah, but they've always done that. I mean, like something with a story in it. Like, that's not just an adaptation of the story from the manga.
No, but they're doing something completely different. This is like they're doing some sort of like MMO thing with the DBZ universe.
Okay.
Oh, that's not a terrible idea. Anyway, so Bardock, Father of Goku is really good.
Yeah, this holds up surprisingly well.
It has the virtue of using one of the best DBZ villains.
Well, I guess I don't think Frieza's what really makes this movie, but okay.
Well, for me, a good villain is just part of the mix. You got to have a good villain to, and Frieza's obviously a very good villain, and so it helps.
Well, it's basically like it's one of the best ideas they've ever had, because Bardock was one of the most interesting parts of the flashbacks in DBZ. So it's like we get to see Goku's past, Goku's past so rarely gets brought up, except in that weird moment from the Ocean dub.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And we saw this video earlier from the Ocean, which is the Canadian company that first brought DBZ into English. The Ocean version of the scene where Goku fights Vegeta and Vegeta's about to turn into a giant ape. So Vegeta explains that Goku's dad, who they don't call Bardock, is the one who created this attack. And he says, Kakarot, your father was an average fighter, but he was a brilliant scientist. And I'm just like, wait a minute.
And if you watch
he's
this
a
movie,
scientist that created an attack? That's weird.
yes, because
Apparently Bardock is a scientist.
if you watch this movie, he is neither an average fighter or a brilliant scientist.
He is the complete opposite of both of those
Vegeta
things.
was just fucking with Goku, man. That's all that was going on.
But that was the explanation for a linchpin in the story, and it's never brought up in either the manga or any other dub. I don't know why Canadians felt the need to put it in there.
Yeah, this was a decision by them to put this in there. This was not a story element before.
No, never, and never. It never was, and never will be again. It was bizarre. I just thought I'd mention that since we're talking about Bardock. It's weird. But yeah, I like this a lot. Check it out.
Yeah, Father of Goku's really good.
Yep. So, if you guys don't have anything else to say about it, I guess we can move on to the other one, History of Trunks.
Another really good idea.
Yeah, this is really good.
Brilliant.
This is really good. It's amazing how impactful the story is. Like, this movie really is. It puts a lot more into the emotional aspect of the story than you get with a lot of Dragon Ball Z stuff. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when he comes up on dead Gohan and he goes Super Saiyan, I choked up a little.
That's the best scene in the movie. I only have one real problem with this, and like, it might not be. I'm gonna give you guys a chance to see if I'm maybe an idiot here. Okay, so will someone please remind me what the hell happened with Future Trunks after the Cell Saga?
He went back to the future and he defeated the androids, and he also killed their universe's version of Cell.
Right.
Okay,
well,
so,
he did that.
So he goes back as an Ascended Saiyan and defeats the androids.
Right.
Right.
Okay, I guess that's fine. It's just kind of disappointing that his character arc isn't finished in this. And yes, it's a setup movie, but still, I mean, if you're going to make something special like this, it should have a complete story that you can watch on your own.
Right.
It's just...
Well, I think it's made for DBZ fans, so I suppose the logic is that they'll watch the Cell Saga then and they'll see his completed character arc.
Right, because this is...
Yeah, I do agree with you, though. As a standalone piece, it doesn't really work. But I think they're working under the assumption that if you're watching this, you know the Cell Saga.
Well, and it's not really
really
a movie, to be fair. It's a TV special, so it's not really necessarily supposed to stand on its own.
But to be fair to Ian's point, in Bardock, Father of Goku, they could tell a complete story, including the fact that Goku is the one who's going to defeat Frieza.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and in this, like, honestly, what should have happened is he should have been able to defeat them and then decide that this world is hell, even with them defeated, and then go back in time and try to fix it that way.
Fair enough, but in that case, there's no reason for him to bring Goku back to life.
Well, yeah, there is, because you can say that Goku dying is the reason that the world's shit, because he wasn't around to fight the androids when they first showed up.
Fair enough, but Trunks is really cool in this, because we get to see... Well, here, first things first, we get to see Gohan as the master.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really love about this movie is the relationship between Gohan and Trunks. When they first start training and he just like throws him into that whirlpool and he has to pull himself out of it, that is so much like Piccolo, the way he trained Gohan.
Yeah, and it's definitely
classic
no
DBZ.
accident that Gohan... Yeah, it's definitely no accident that Gohan is characterized like Piccolo since he uses the special beam cannon in this.
I mean, a lot less so. Piccolo made Kid Gohan go up against a dinosaur, but...
I mean, Whirlpool versus a dinosaur, which one's more dangerous? You be the judge, but,
I don't know.
They're both gonna swallow you.
Well, according to Kid Trunks, a dinosaur isn't shit, but anyway...
Exactly. So why would Teen Trunks be worried? But I mean, alternate universe version of Trunks. That's another thing. Seeing Teen Trunks. This is the only time we get a teenage version of Trunks. Because we have.
Because GT is an adult.
Yeah, we have adult Trunks in GT. We obviously had future Trunks in DBZ, and then the only other Trunks you ever get is little kid Trunks. So it's neat to see a teenage version of Trunks. I like the fact that we're just in this alternate version of the universe. Because you get so used to seeing Goku and his friends save the world, and in this, things are just going to hell. Now, there are a couple things they could have done to characterize that more. The people...
Dude, I don't know. You show androids showing up and, like, Super Saiyans dying, and I think that's a pretty good world's gone to hell thing.
Yeah, but it's not like the Terminator universe. The society is still functioning.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. The people in these cities don't seem to be all too worried about the androids until the androids show up. Like,
well, that's because it's just so random. There's a radio broadcast alerting you when androids are spotted.
But at that point, it just makes the androids seem less threatening, because at that point it's more like, oh, they're destroying the planet, and more like, oh, it's kind of like a tornado, it'll hit every now and then, you know?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing.
Well, they weren't meant to destroy the planet, they were meant to help capture it and keep it hostage, basically.
Well, that and also their whole purpose was to take revenge on Goku for the Red Ribbon Army.
But by this point, that motivation is out the window, and they rebelled against Jiro anyway. So it's not like they're really.
That's one thing I did like about the Android Saga, just in general. I really liked that the Red Ribbon Army came back in DBZ.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was a good thing. Another problem with the androids is the way they're characterized here. I mean, to be fair, I haven't watched the Android Saga in a while, but I don't think they were this childlike in the main series.
Well, these are different androids that have just become lazy over the years.
Here's the thing.
At times they sound like whiny children, you know?
They do kind of in the end. I've seen the Android Saga fairly recently. They're not much different in that, except they have a distinctive objective in that, because they're on their way to kill Goku. Here's the thing, though. They do kind of just take random road stops just for the sake of fun, which is what they're doing in this movie, too. But I kind of agree. I wish that they were a lot more obsessed with the sheer fun of killing, which they kind of are, but it's almost like...
I'll have to say that they are. 18 less so, but I think that's just because they wanted to, have her be, I don't know, some kind of redeemable character.
18's always been less evil than 17.
Right, but I mean, I wish that it's because sometimes they treat the humans just like a road stop on the way to fun, and I think that the fun is...
Well, dude, he plays the teenager game of how many points?
Yeah.
Both of them do, actually, so...
Yeah, there's a scene where she says, we missed one, and she blows this guy up, and 17's like, oh man, now we're tied.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. But I wish it was emphasized more frequently.
I would disagree about the whole, tornado thing. I see where you're coming from on that. I just think that they're designed to help take over the world, not to destroy it. So they're not going to, completely eradicate society. They're just going to make it so that no one could possibly fight back.
Yeah, I suppose so. And my problem with their characterization isn't so much because they were very childlike in the series as well, but I think it might just be the way they're written in this specifically. Some of their dialogue, they just come off as whiny children at points, and it was just, I don't know. And again, I haven't watched the Android Saga in a while, but I seem to remember them being a little bit more serious than this.
Not much so, but definitely they feel a lot more like older teens and that almost like college students. Here they feel like 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
But that's a fair point. It didn't bother me that much. My biggest problem with this is that I don't think Gohan trains Trunks hard enough.
Well, we don't really get a good passage of time, which is probably one of my bigger complaints about the movie. Is just that alright, so Goku dies at the beginning of the movie, and then we're told it's 6 months later the androids show up.
Right.
But I'm at the beginning of the movie, Trunks is a baby, and then he's then he's fighting the androids when he's let's say 13, 14.
Right.
But that's problematic because he doesn't come off, I guess, right to me in a certain sense. The timing doesn't seem right. I mean, how long were the androids destroying society for God, what would that make it? 20 years or 10, 15 years?
Yeah. You would think that society would be in a worse shape than it is by the end of this.
Yeah, it seems pretty. I kind of agree with Dylan. It seems like they're treated a lot more like a kind of an isolated incident than they should be. I don't know. I agree. It's a little weird. Also, you got to think Gohan has been trying to fight them all this time.
How he survived?
Yeah, I mean...
When Vegeta and Piccolo and all of them have been taken down?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the thing is... Wait, was Vegeta a Super Saiyan in this universe when he fought...
Yeah, they show him die as a Super Saiyan. Okay,
so I was going to say the only thing he has over them is being a Super Saiyan, but... Okay, so he doesn't. Let me just... Well, at least they show that he's fucked up from it, he's got scars all over him, which... Dylan, you brought this up off recording... Biggest problem with that is he looks too much like Yamcha.
Yeah, he really does. He looks like Yamcha in this movie. It used to get on my nerves a lot more. I mean, he does. As a kid, I was very confused.
Yeah. But my biggest problem that I mentioned earlier is that Gohan his only concern seems to be getting Trunks to go Super Saiyan. And I'm like, but there should be steps before that.
And being a Super Saiyan...
He's much farther along than he realized. Was the point Gohan made, and I guess that kind of justifies it. It's just that Trunks doesn't really need much more training other than learning how to go Super Saiyan.
The problem is he should
be... show him a couple special moves, maybe the Kamehameha, maybe the special beam cannon, I don't know.
He should be trying some other kind of strategy, though. He should be trying to get a little bit more creative, because obviously just being a Super Saiyan isn't going to give you an edge in this.
Yeah.
he's been fighting them as a Super Saiyan for all this time, and it hasn't made much of a difference.
Yeah, and that's why I was thinking that it's an uncompleted character arc for this thing, because he doesn't come off like he has a finished character development. And I mean, the end of his character arc should have been defeating them, or dying.
Thankfully, they do show him do that in DBZ. After the Cell Saga, they show him going back and defeating them.
I do not remember that.
I look it up on YouTube. They do show it.
If they had made that like a second TV special and have it be a sequel to this, and you were supposed to watch them as a companion piece, I think that might have made it a little stronger.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Or even just do it in this movie and do a passage of time.
Seriously, you get in a time machine, you can come right back as as Ascended Saiyan Trunks and just say fuck it, and defeat them then.
Yeah, because when he goes back to the future, he actually kills Cell before he can go back in time, which kind of fucks up all of the...
Oh, wait, hang on. Didn't Trunks... Okay, I know we just had that whole thing about what happened to Ascended Trunks. Didn't he die in the Cell Saga? I seem to remember him dying.
Yeah, but he got brought back at the end, Dragon Balls.
Oh, okay, because I remember the big scene of Vegeta freaking out when Cell killed him.
Yeah, he was dead, but Dragon Balls, so...
Oh, okay, right, okay. Gotcha now. Yes. But yeah, totally. I wish they would have cut away. Maybe they're where the hell did he go? And then he comes back as souped up Ascended Saiyan Trunks and just kicks their asses.
What would have worked better, honestly, is if, Bulma had that line where she said, "I want you back." And then, what is her last line? I'm trying to remember. "I'll miss you," or something like that.
Something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah. What would have been a better character arc for Bulma is if Trunks couldn't come back and she didn't tell him.
Oh, some Terminator shit. You can go back in time, but you can't come back.
No, just that she didn't build the time machine to allow anyone to come back. She built it so Trunks could go back, save Goku, and Goku could save the world and keep him there.
Right. Yeah, that definitely would have been better. But to be fair to that, then you'd have the problem of this universe doesn't get erased; it's just separate. So
yeah, I know, I get that. I'm just saying it would have made more sense for Bulma's character, and it would have worked better with the plot of this movie, and not necessarily the Cell Saga as a whole.
Here's my biggest problem with all of the time travel stuff in that saga. At what point is Trunks traveling in time, and at what point is he traveling universes? Because they don't seem to make a distinction, but they should be making a distinction.
Well, I mean, he's traveling back in time in his own universe, and as soon as he gives Goku the medicine... Actually, no. The second he sets foot in the past and starts interacting with people, he's changing history.
Right. Well, because as soon as 19 and 20 show up, that's when he's like, this is not my universe anymore.
Yep.
But he goes back there. So how? I mean...
Which, that always confused me. Wouldn't 19 and 20 still have existed in his universe, or is it maybe just because he was a baby at that point and he doesn't remember them?
No, because they say that the androids... No, because Goku would have been dead at this point, and they say that these androids simply did not exist in this universe. Because here's the thing, in his universe, Jiro never turned himself into an android.
Okay, but why does Goku, still being alive, give Jiro the motivation to turn himself into an android, instead of just using 17 and 18?
He wants to be able to beat him himself, I guess.
I don't know how it works, but 19 and 20 did not exist in Cell's universe, and in Trunks' universe.
I've always wanted to see how the whole Mecha Frieza thing played out in Trunks' version of the timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Goku says Frieza was really in a hurry to beat me here. Otherwise, he would have been able to totally kick Frieza's ass.
Yeah, I'm assuming they should have made this into a movie. I'm assuming that Mecha Frieza showed up and was just beating everybody, and then Goku showed up right at the right time.
They should have done a quick flash of everything that happened, or Vegeta should have beat Mecha Frieza or something. Because wasn't Vegeta a Super Saiyan by that point?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't a Super Saiyan until 19 and 20 came a year later. Is it a year?
3 years later.
3 years.
Are you sure? Because
no, he definitely. I watched it
all
recently.
that time.
No, that was afterwards. He didn't become. He did not become a Super Saiyan until he went up into space.
Yeah, when he found out that the androids were coming, he went up into space, and then that's when he did all his training. And when he came back to Earth, he was a Super Saiyan.
Because the thing that prompts him to train so hard is that Trunks is a Super Saiyan, and now there's 2 Super Saiyans. Because there's that scene where he has this nightmare of Goku and Trunks floating towards him, and then they transform, and he just gets lost in a ray of energy.
Mm.
So that was the thing that sparked him to try so hard that almost had him dying.
Yeah.
So, anyway. This one is really interesting. It's such a good idea to do this as a movie.
Yeah,
because
like I said, I just wish they concluded his story as opposed to just letting you kind of piece it together.
Yes, I agree, but it's just because just like the Bardock thing, it's just such a good idea to just do it, just to flesh it out, because it's interesting background that's not in the show. It's just set in dialogue and shown briefly in flashback. But to see it as an entire movie and to see it done this well is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a story here that needed to be told. I mean, you need to understand just how desperate things are in Trunks' universe that time travel seems like the best option.
Right.
I don't know. I still think there are problems with it. I like these two more than any of the others. Don't get me wrong, Broly was fun and all. It's just entertaining. It's not like actually, worthwhile from a, good plot perspective. It's just cool fight scene and, kind of character idea. But there's
it's interesting that the 2 TV specials feel a little bit more like movies than the actual movies do.
Well, here's the difference. The movies are just there to display the fight, because they only have 45 minutes to do it. The TV specials are filling in story gaps, so
that's true.
The fights in them are not the end-all, be-all part of the plot. It's all about getting to a certain setup of the universe. Because that's where the movies don't really feel like cinematic movies you could put in theaters, is that they're just displaying one single fight, and they're not really trying to tell a full story.
Well, I think that's the problem then. I think that, the movies should have been more interested in telling a story than they were,
and some of them, a couple of them do, to be fair, but yeah.
Cool War's Revenge does both, I think, because it's all about the fight, but that's all it's trying to do when it tells that story through the fight. And that's what a good DBZ movie should be trying to do. If it wants to display a fight, the fight should be the story.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
That's what makes Cool War's Revenge one of my favorites.
Well, I mean, this has some fantastic fight scenes, and it's cool to see just how powerful the androids really are, because you never really get quite enough respect for him in the show, because Cell shows up, and then he's the threat.
Right.
Well, this is the universe where they did the most damage. So this is really them at their most frightening. Whereas
right, exactly.
You don't really get a good sense of that in the main series.
Right, because Cell comes along and all of a sudden they're the victims.
Because again, in this universe, they really don't have much of a purpose because Goku's dead. So it's like they're just going around destroying stuff. In the series, they were. It's almost like they have this little road trip thing going on where them and 16 are in a van going to kill Goku.
Absolutely, yeah, it is kind of like a road trip thing.
And meanwhile, you have all this Cell stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like both of these a lot.
Yeah, these are some of my favorites. God, there's some just brilliant scenes in Trunks that get me every time. Like, obviously, the Super Saiyan transformation is just, it's a tearjerker.
The very opening scene where Goku is dead or dying, and Gohan's rushing home, and you just see all the Z fighters' expressions when they hear that,
including Vegeta.
Yeah, Vegeta's got, he's always got that psychosis where at this point he's basically living to fight Goku.
I'm so glad we made that a thing where Vegeta legit has a psychosis. I mean, it's always just been kind of an obsession. It's a fucking psychosis. This dude belongs in an asylum.
Yeah.
It's not that way in the later Z stuff, but in the Cell Saga, this dude has a mental problem.
Right. So
we made this joke. I don't know if we said this on recording that Bulma should have sent Vegeta to a shrink, and how bad of an idea that would be, because as soon as the first question the shrinks ask, so how was your relationship with your father? And then Vegeta just kills him.
Yeah.
Or they ask him how his career's going,
No, God. Well, the father thing would be better because he had such a terrible relationship with his dad.
Yeah.
I still gotta see the thing with his brother.
And psychics love that kind of thing. Oh, it's terrible.
It's really bad.
Oh, I know, but I still gotta see it.
Speaking of which, I guess that's...
Oh, good segue.
Yeah, I guess this is as good a place to wrap up as any. So, all right, that does it for the TV specials. Join me and Bill next time when we will be talking about the stuff that only came out in Japan. Although one of them was actually an unlockable on one of the video games, but it's still in Japanese.
Yeah, still English subbed.
So we're going to be talking about episode of Bardock, Plan to Eradicate All Super Saiyans, and Yo Son Goku and his friends return. Oh boy. So join us for that, and we'll probably also do some sort of like little retrospective or something, just because it's the last part of this.
Yeah, we said we were going to list our top 5 movies.
Yeah. So yeah, see y'all for that, and that'll about do it. So.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Oh,
sure.
No problem.
Bye, everyone.